Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're breaking down one of the absolute most fascinating examples of exponential power progression in modern fiction. We're looking at Elijah from The Wanderer, and let me tell you, this guy doesn't just survive the Marvel Universe, he fundamentally hacks it. We're going to track exactly how he goes from a newly awakened mutant to a literal, reality-bending cosmic god. And more importantly, we'll look at the incredibly strict, mathematically rigid logic he uses to actually get there.
So here's our roadmap for today. First up is the catalyst, the core mechanics of his power. Then we'll see exactly how he optimizes his physical avatar. After that, we're diving into how these hacks absolutely shatter established Marvel canon. And finally, the climax, his ascension to Realm Lord. Let's get right into it. Kicking things off with Section 1, the catalyst, or the mechanics of self-creation. Every god-tier character has to start somewhere, right? But Elijah's starting point is entirely unique. Now, what's really fascinating here is the absolute lack of a ceiling on his mutant potential. Most mutants in this universe, they discover what they can do by accident or maybe through some intense trauma. Not Elijah. His mutant power is literally called self-creation. It's like having an endless metaphysical water tank hidden inside your body. He gets to actively design and purchase his own secondary mutations based entirely on his imagination. The only currency he needs to buy them, the bioenergy that naturally accumulates inside him over time. Think of this like a giant, unstoppable snowball effect. How does he speed up that energy accumulation? Well, through sheer brute force physical exertion. The harder he pushes his human limits with grueling workouts, the faster his bioenergy generates. That energy funds the purchase of new superpowers, which then allow him to push his body even further, generating energy even faster. It's the ultimate grinding loop. He's literally turning physical sweat directly into supernatural potential. And he approaches this with a super rigid economy. He organizes his power purchases into strict tiers: epsilon, beta, alpha, and omega. To put that into perspective, an epsilon-level power, like peak stamina, might take a few days of energy to afford. Beta takes weeks, and alpha takes months. He's incredibly strategic, targeting those lower-tier, highly synergistic abilities first instead of waiting years for the flashy stuff. The big takeaway here? His eventual godhood isn't just handed to him. He meticulously funds and budgets for it. Moving right along to Section 2, optimizing the avatar and hacking the physical baseline. Because once Elijah figures out this energy economy, he immediately realizes that a standard human body is a terrible engine for generating power. He needs a massive upgrade. Enter what he calls the peak human stack. He starts with peak human stamina. Why? Because that is the critical engine funding the whole shebang. Endless stamina means endless workouts without ever getting tired. But of course, endless workouts will tear your muscles to shreds. So he buys peak human regeneration to instantly heal those microscopic tears. Then he upgrades his brain with peak human mind for eidetic memory and parallel multitasking. Finally, he tops it off with peak human body, forging a perfectly balanced, adamantium durable martial arts physique. He basically achieves the ultimate gym bro dream, completely bypassing actual fatigue. But having a perfect body isn't quite the same as knowing how to actually use it. That's where a beta-level ability called adoptive muscle memory, or eidetic kinesthesia, comes in. And this brilliantly illustrates his whole strategy. He completely bypasses years of tedious training. If his physical body is capable of a feat, he literally only needs to see it once to permanently burn it into his muscle memory. It's like he's trained for decades in the blink of an eye. The results of this are just staggering. Just by watching a demonstration, he masters the entire art of Muay Thai in under a single hour. But it goes way beyond physical combat. With his fully optimized mind, he effortlessly bypasses the doubts and mental hurdles that stop normal humans from performing magic. I mean, he successfully channels Kamatarj eldritch dimensional magic and opens a portal on his very first attempt. His mental hacks just obliterate the normal learning curve. All right, Section 3, rewriting the Marvel Universe and completely disrupting canon. As these optimizations start stacking up, you really see how Elijah's approach absolutely shatters the established rules of the Marvel Universe. Consider this stark juxtaposition here. Canonically, incredibly powerful telepaths like Jean Grey suffer immensely, constantly bombarded by crippling background noise. And Professor Xavier? He tries to manage this by planting these elaborate, invasive mental trigger words to suppress her emotions. Elijah, on the other hand, just uses his powers to invent an instant brute force solution. He creates an absolute ethereal mind shield. He wraps this intangible barrier around Jean, instantly silencing all the voices and making Xavier's manipulative mental blocks entirely obsolete. And beyond telepathy, he proactively patches pretty much every standard comic book plot hole that villains love to exploit. Afraid of being cloned? He creates a biocircuit, so any cell that leaves his body instantly disintegrates into dust. Worried about enemies sneaking up on him? His alpha-level Farsight lets him spy anywhere in the universe. Concerned about someone altering his history, he runs a continuous temporal shield to block time travelers. He even uses his body's supremacy and sheer willpower to quite literally reject the concept of death, healing fatal wounds instantly without spilling a single drop of blood. Absolutely wild. But here is the ultimate cheat code, the Energy Vessel. This Omega-level ability builds a bioelectrical matrix inside every single cell of his body. It just passively absorbs all forms of energy around him. Solar radiation, ambient psionic energy, dimensional magic, you name it. And why does this matter? Because there is zero upper limit. He's essentially built an infinite, ever-growing battery inside his own flesh. The more energy he absorbs, the more indestructible he becomes. Which brings us to the climax. In Section 4, Ascension to Realm Lord and merging with the Dark Force. All of this intense preparation, the stamina, the shields, the endless battery, it was all leading here. Elijah isn't satisfied just being a powerful mutant anymore. He's aiming for true cosmic godhood. To pull this off, he travels into the lifeless, completely hostile Dark Force dimension. And this descent is visceral. It's agonizing. He takes an artifact called the Quantum Tail and literally pierces his own soul with it to act as an anchor. He tunnels through the dimension's hidden spatial layers for what feels like days. His mind violently cracks, and his soul nearly shatters under the suffocating, soul-crushing pressure of pure condensed Dark Force. Finally, he reaches the Nexus. The source material describes it as a dark sun made of dark matter, glowing with a blazing black light. The sheer pressure coming off this thing is enough to crush worlds. And instead of backing away, Elijah drives his anchor straight into this terrifying core, letting the ocean of pure dark force completely drown and consume his soul. So, what does this all mean? The crucial point is, he doesn't just tap into the dimension's power, he fully fuses his soul with it. He becomes a realm lord. He entirely transcends biology. His soul transforms into a living shadow of pure darkness. He's no longer just Elijah the mutant. He's the literal, physical incarnation of the Dark Force dimension itself, ruling it with supreme, godlike authority. And the perks of this godhood are, frankly, terrifying. He passively wields limitless Dark Force energy. He can teleport anywhere in the universe instantly, slow his perception of time to an absolute crawl, and act like a literal god of death, reaping life force planet-wide with a single thought. His physical strength? Completely off the charts, beyond Earth and measurement. In fact, upon returning to Earth, he actually has to actively suppress the sheer weight of his own existence. Otherwise, just his passive presence would rip open tears in the fabric of reality. Which leads us to our final thought. We've watched Elijah methodically game an unlimited power system, patch every human weakness, and merge his soul with an infinite, world-crushing dimension. When a mortal hacks his way to godhood with this level of brilliant calculation and literally becomes the living incarnation of a dimension, what challenges even remain in the multiverse? Thanks so much for exploring this fascinating arc with me today. Keep asking questions, keep analyzing those details, and we'll see you in the next explainer.